We got a lot to talk about in today's video, folks. Walker Buehler was released. Payton Tolle made his debut. The Red Sox lose. They lose ground in the wild card. We have a lot to talk about. I have no script today. It is 11:43 p.m. the night before you're watching this video. I just got home from the watch party we did, so this is going to be a little shaky. Bear with me, but I still wanted to get you guys out a video no matter how tired I am. I'm just going to ask you off the top. Grade Payton Tolle's debut down below. A, B, C, D, or F. I want to hear your thoughts. I gave it an astounding A. I'm going to get into my full thoughts when we recap the game at the end of the video. But you go down right now. A, B, C, D, or F. Grade Payton Tolle's outing for me in the comments below. So we'll start with Walker Buehler, then we'll get into Payton Tolle in the game, and then we'll be on our happy, merry way. So Payton Tolle officially gets called up yesterday as a part of a bevy of moves, which included Yostinson Garcia getting sent down to AAA, Nick Sogard coming up in place, and then Payton Tolle came up to the roster, and they had to make room somehow. And there was a lot of questions. Who's going to go? Who's going to get demoted? What's going to happen? And there didn't seem to be a clear solution as to who would go. So, of course, right when the news drops, it's Walker Buehler getting the bump, getting kicked off the roster. And I don't, it's weird because, and we'll talk about this in a second, it actually is probably a good thing for Buehler. It's a good thing for the Red Sox, because this is a net positive gain. You lose Buehler, you gain Tolle. That's a net positive. You know I talk about my net positives, my net negatives on this team all the time. And so not only is it a net positive for you, but it actually does help Buehler. And I will talk about that in a second. But we do have some quotes on Walker Buehler getting off the team. And here's what both Craig Breslow and Alex Cora had to say. Here's what Breslow had to say. He said, "We had the expectation and anticipation being able to give him plenty of time to get used to that role in the bullpen and pitch his way into leverage spots," Breslow said. "But circumstances around the roster had changed, and we needed to make sure that we're thinking about best positioning this group to win as many games as possible down the stretch." And I completely understand that. You lose Richard Fitz, who at the time was in the bullpen. Then you needed him to get into a rotation spot, and you needed a starter. You did not need as much bullpen help. You needed a starter, and Walker Buehler was the odd man out. He was not performing. You already had an underperforming reliever in Jordan Hicks on the roster, so it just didn't make sense to hold two net negative relievers on the roster. And because they could not wait to get a starter up on the team, it had to be Buehler, because he had not positioned himself in a way where he was actively contributing in the bullpen. So that was the first thing. The second thing from Breslow, he said, "Just trying to be mindful and respectful of who he is and what he's accomplished. We felt like this was the fairest way to treat him at this point." And I think what he's referring to here is the fact that there is a deadline to sign players for them to be eligible for the playoff roster, and that is September 1st, which is Monday. So they knew they got to the point where clearly he was not going to be contributing to the postseason roster. He probably wasn't even going to make the postseason roster for the Red Sox. So they thought, let's do him a solid. Clearly, he doesn't have a role here. Clearly, he wants to have a role somewhere else. Let's do him a solid. Let's outright release him so he has a few days to sign a new deal with a new contender, the Dodgers, and be on a postseason roster where he is legitimately contributing. He wasn't going to do that in Boston, so they decided to release him, kind of do him a solid, and let him have a few days to find an opportunity with another contender. Look, I liked the Buehler signing in the offseason. There was a lot of speculation. There was a lot of curiosity as to what he was going to do, how he was going to play, and it just didn't work out. And it didn't, Cora has the best quote about this. He says, "It's tough. This is where we're at. I know it didn't go his way or our way. He expected more and we expected more. I still think he has more in the tank. I enjoyed being around him. I learned a lot from him. I wish him nothing but the best." And I think Cora says that, spectacularly. It just didn't go the way that any of us thought it would. It's not a knock on him. That's not a knock on the front office. That's not a knock on anyone. You thought he might have something in the tank and he just didn't. And it just didn't work out. That's life. That's business. That's sports. It's not always going to work out. The gamble, the signing, the this, the that, the trade that you make, it's not always going to work out. And in Walker Buehler's case, it didn't work out. Unfortunately, it is what it is. Go type WB down below in the comments. Show him some love. I mean, he embraced Boston, and Boston embraced him. At the end of the day, he just didn't pitch well. But I think he's still a good dude. I think he still was a lot of fun to watch. I think he still had his moments. So, show him some love. Go type the WBs down below in the comments. Just show some love to Walker Buehler. I wish him the best. I wish nothing but the best for him as a person, for his family, all of the above. You do that as well. Go type your WBs down below in the comments. Let's talk Payton Tolle, ladies and gentlemen. But before we do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We were live for Payton Tolle's debut last night. It was absolutely electric. It was so much fun. Mitchell Renz of the Raiders Report joined in, and he ended up staying for basically the entire game. We made, a record-breaking amount in super chats. It was a lot of fun. And like I said in that stream, there are plans to go live for every single playoff game, as well as the playoff races get really close at the end of September, going live for some of those games as well. I think the Toronto series in particular could be really crucial for the Red Sox at the end of September, and I have every plan on going live for that series. So if you want that, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also, daily videos around the Red Sox, like the video you're watching right now. Short recap videos after every single game. I watch the games so you don't have to. This is my commitment to you guys. I am going to report on the Red Sox as quickly, as accurately, and as soon as possible every time a move happens. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help us continue to grow our next milestone, 6,000 subscribers. Thank you all so much for the support so far. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. All right, let's talk about the game. Red Sox lose 4-2. You lose the Skenes game, which was the game that, I thought would be the toughest, and the game that you had the most potential of losing. And it is what it is. A lot of people in the chat last night were in doomsday mode after losing this game, and I said, guys, the Red Sox went 7-1 on this road trip. They were and are still one of the hottest teams in baseball. The bullpen is firing all cylinders. The rotation's been really good. The offense has been working. One loss is not going to derail your entire season. And further, you had your starter making his MLB debut, and you had Paul Skenes, who is one of, if not the best pitchers in all of baseball, on the mound on the other side. It is what it is. I don't know what you want me to tell you. They just didn't get it done at the end of the day. Payton Tolle, however, was fantastic. 5 1/3 innings, 3 hits, 2 walks, 8 Ks, 2 runs. But those 2 runs come off of Greg Weissert, who comes in the 6th and implodes and gives up 3 runs. So I can't even blame those 2 runs on Tolle. If Weissert would have gotten out of that inning, he would have gone 5 1/3 shut. It's just the luck of the draw. It just is what it is. But Tolle coming in was very exciting. He pitched really well. He looked great. Had the electric fastball, struck out I think it was 4 of the first 6 batters he saw. It was just electric. And I joked, oh, he's the next Paul Skenes. We got the next Paul Skenes. He's kind of got the stuff to look like it. Again, it's against the Pirates. It is what it is. We need to see more from him. But this was as electric of a debut as Paul Skenes' debut last year. And I'm being serious when I say that. This was as electric of a debut as Paul Skenes' debut last year. It was. He dominated. Those 2 runs are not on him. They are on Weissert for not getting out of that inning. Other than that, he dominated. And again, I know it's the Pirates. Yes, I get it. They're still major league players. You play the team that's in front of you. It doesn't matter who it is. So, big ups to Tolle. And Breslow talked about him, and just he called him the complete package. Here's what Breslow had to say about Payton Tolle. He said, it's the total package. When you evaluate whether or not someone is ready for a debut, and particularly late in the season in a pennant race, you think about the physical talent, and I think that's pretty clear. He's got a good elite fastball, which is the foundation of his repertoire. He's got a unique extension in fastball playability and the ability to get guys to swing and miss in the zone, and his secondaries have taken a real step forward this year, Breslow says. He also continued and said, and then you just think of his emotional maturity and whether or not we feel like he's going to perform at this stage. He's checked every box. We're not going to know for sure until he takes the ball, which we saw he was awesome. But we have a reason to believe that he's going to be successful. He's super competitive. He's mature beyond his years, and he's had to overcome significant obstacles. And I think this is just another one, and we're really confident he'll be able to do it. And all the content we've gotten about Payton Tolle, the call-up video was awesome. All of the quotes that we've gotten from him, both pre and post game. I'd take a bullet for this guy. I would. He just seems like an absolute gem. Like, he seems like just a good dude. And again, like Breslow mentioned, the obstacles that he had to go through are incredible. Like, just go read his story. Like, it's heartbreaking, but it's like it's amazing. And for him to be here and make this debut was special. It was special to watch, and he lived up to the billing tremendously. Rest of the game, though, not great. Your bullpen kind of implodes. Greg Weissert, like I said, gave up the 3 runs. 2 of them go on Tolle's line, but it was Weissert who gave them up. Justin Slayton comes in and gives you a shaky but okay 7th inning. Jordan Hicks comes in, craps the bed. He only gets 1 out, but he also gives up another run, an insurance run for the Pirates, and then Justin Wilson and Brandon Bernardino close it out for you. The offense didn't do much tonight. Again, you're facing Paul Skenes, so I'm not really that surprised. Roman Anthony goes 2 for 4 with a solo shot off of Paul Skenes, which was absolutely electric. Go check out my Twitter. I got that call up, myself and Mitchell Renz. It was awesome. Alex Bregman continues to struggle. He went 0 for tonight. Trevor Story also went 0 for tonight with 3 Ks. Rafaela had an RBI. He went 2 for 4. Romy Gonzalez goes 3 for 4 with 3 singles, but he doesn't hit anybody in. I mean, at the end of the day, your offense just didn't do much. You had 9 hits. 7 of them came from 3 players. Anthony, Gonzalez, and Rafaela. Like, your offense just didn't do anything. And again, it's Paul Skenes. I get it. Like, Paul Skenes' line was pretty good as well. 6 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned, 1 walk, 6 Ks. I mean, that's relatively good line. You had runners on, you had opportunities to score them, and you didn't. So you lost the ball game. The thing that really stings is what happened around the league. And we're going to do that right now. Scoreboard check. Very unfortunate night. If you're a scoreboard watcher, Yankees win 10-2. Tigers beat the Royals, so that's good news. Guardians beat the Mariners. That's also good news. The Blue Jays lost to the Brewers. So the 2 teams that you wanted to lose, one of them won and the other lost. So the standings look quite a bit different than they did. You're still 3.5 back on the Blue Jays. You could have been 2.5 back if you would have won. That would have made things very interesting, but it's the wild card that matters. You're fighting for that final wild card spot. The Yankees have overtaken you in the standings by a half game. They won, you lost. They are a half game up on the Red Sox. You're still 2.5 games up on the Mariners. You're 5.5 games up on the Royals. So you're fine in terms of wild card spots. I'm not worried about losing a wild card spot, but you want the home field advantage. So you need to be ahead of the Yankees. The Yankees are playing the White Sox over the next 2 days as well. So you need to win these next 2 games. Dustin May on the mound today, Lucas Giolito on the mound tomorrow. You need to win these games. These are must-win games for the rest of the season. Because the Yankees are going to win against the White Sox. I can almost guarantee you that. And the Blue Jays against the Brewers kicked the Blue Jays' asses last night. You need to win these games. They are absolutely critical. Do the Red Sox win this series? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Let me know down below in the comments. I'm still going to go out on a limb and say yes. I think they do. Dustin May needs to show out today. I feel confident with Giolito on the mound. So I'm going to say they do. But you let me know. Y for yes, N for no. Do they win this series? That's where we're going to end it, guys. Thank you all so much for taking time to watch this video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you've not already. Join the family today. Go follow me on Twitter. That's also going to be linked down below in the comments and description of this video. Thank you all so much. Thank you for joining us for the watch party as well. That was a lot of fun. I'm going to go rest my voice because it's absolutely shot. We'll see you guys tomorrow for another video. I hope you all have the rest of your day. And until next time, go Sox.